Welcome back to the 34th episode of Dbd Myths Busted. This is a series where we take a look at perk combinations and edge case scenarios submitted by you lot and investigate whether they work, don't work, or are in need of further research. I do a new one of these every single week, so if you have a suggestion, make sure you chuck a comment on this video with the word myth somewhere in the content of what you post. Let's get started. The Unknown can down survivors who have already escaped. This one was submitted by Malachi Redfern 2186. I love starting off with weird ones. The Unknown is the first killer who has a splash projectile that can down a survivor. We know that projectiles can't be shot past the entity's barrier at the exit gates, but that's fine because UVX, the projectile, needs only hit that barrier to down a survivor caught in its radius. So, what happens if a survivor is injured and weakened and thus able to be injured again by UVX and then gets hit just after leaving the exit gate? Let's find out. So, I tested this a couple of times just to be sure. Even though Feng is weakened and would therefore usually go down from this, she just doesn't. Yes, I tried hitting her under the exact same circumstances without going through the gate, and look, she gets down and moves out of the match as she goes down. But once she's crossed that barrier, there is simply no changing of health states. Dissolution and Chemical Trap can slow survivors. This one was submitted by Shucks-A713. Dissolution activates 3 seconds after injuring a survivor by any means for 20 seconds. If a survivor fast vaults a pallet while inside your terror radius, that pallet will break and Dissolution deactivates. Chemical Trap is a survivor perk that allows you to install a trap on a pallet, which explodes when broken and normally therefore applies a slowing effect to the killer. But what happens if Dissolution is active and a survivor vaults a Chemical Trap pallet? As technically they explode the trap when it's destroyed, will the survivor be hit with the slowness effect? Dissolution will activate Thwack. This one was submitted by Dub12. Thwack is a killer perk that activates when hooking a survivor. All survivors within 32 meters of your location will scream and reveal their aura for 4 seconds the next time you break a pallet or breakable wall. In our last video, we found that Thwack works with the Singularity's overclock auto pallet break mechanic, but will it work with Dissolution as it's technically the survivor breaking the pallet? Let's find out. The Singularity can counter pallet saves when in overclock. This one was submitted by Moon of 9AEI. The Singularity's overclock mode causes any pallet dropped on him to be destroyed by the entity with a brief movement penalty applied. So the question is this: if a player gets a pallet save while the Singularity is in overclock, will the pallet save be counted? Chains interrupt invocations. This one was submitted by Nathan Elev3112. I'm including this because if it's true, it makes invocations practically useless against Pinhead, as the moment you step up from an invocation, the progress begins ticking down extremely fast. This uselessness is especially true when performing the invocation solo, as the chain hunt takes 90 seconds to charge, and a solo invocation takes 120 seconds. So, let's put yet another nail in the coffin of invocation weaving spiders. Do chains interrupt invocations? So, I stopped here because I wasn't getting hit by any chains. I ran around for a bit and still wasn't getting hit by any chains. I quickly rushed to the wiki to see that, yes, the maximum chain hunt attack delay is only 12 seconds. Oh my goodness, I thought. This is game breaking. If you're doing an invocation and a chain hunt starts, you won't be hit by any of the chains. This is huge. Not only that, but I solved the lament configuration and waited around for the next chain hunt and still I wasn't getting hit by anything. It breaks it for the entire trial. I was right just there about to extract this part of the video and turn it into its own standalone video to explain like my theories behind why it happens, and then I paused. I thought, Tom, you've done this before and you've ended up being wrong. It doesn't matter that the wiki doesn't list something or that you've never experienced it or heard of it. There's probably a well-known game mechanic that's caused this. And everyone in the DBD community is going to stand around laughing at you. They're going to point and laugh. They're going to say, we've 1,800 hours, that's not enough to be making videos. You go delete your channel. It's what always happens. So this time, for good measure, I took to Twitter and... yeah, it turns out that you just don't get any change during a chain hunt if there's only one survivor left. I had no idea, neither did the wiki, neither does his power description in-game, but in any case, I still just tested what happens when he hits you with a chain directly and can confirm that it does not cause your invocation to interrupt. Dodged a bullet there, quite frankly, especially now I know that there's a chance of Hotstarver watching these videos, which terrifies me. If you're watching this, Hotstarver, getting a comment from you on a video like this is very scary. Thank you for watching. I'm not complaining about you commenting on my video, obviously, but I can be very imprecise sometimes, and people always bully me for it. And now I think, oh god, the people who know what they're doing are watching my videos. I need to have a higher level of, oh dear, you get what you get, the anxiety. Anyway. Object of Obsession will still reveal the killer's aura when the killer is blind. This one was submitted by False Idol 1120. Object of Obsession will reveal the killer's aura to you every time your aura would be revealed to the killer. It also reveals your aura to the killer for 3 seconds every 30 seconds. Residual Manifest applies the blindness status effect to the killer when you blind them with a flashlight. Blindness prevents a player from being able to see auras. So, will being blinded prevent Object of Obsession from revealing the killer's aura to the survivor? This is one of those ones that I know I'm going to get. Just read the perk description comment. So I want to clarify why this is interesting to me. We know that at some point in the game code, gives the player aura reading abilities. What we don't know is when or why this occurs. Consider 2 possible implementations. This would make the most sense to me. We check if the killer can see, and only if he can see do we add the aura. It's then the killer's add aura function that checks if the survivor has and therefore triggers the perk. An alternate implementation might be this. So in this scenario, the perk is triggered regardless of whether the killer is blind. And the reason it would be implemented in this way is because 1, it's a little bit cleaner, and 2, it keeps killer code in the killer class and prevents the killer class from running any survivor code. This is a much neater and more organized way of dealing with this effect, but it means the object would still trigger even if the killer is blinded, because the aura being added and the perk being triggered actually is completely decoupled from the killer class. Let's actually test it. The anti-camp feature, when used in second stage, will still apply Deliverance's broken effect. This one was submitted by Subway Surfer 15. In our last video, we found that when taking Wicked and Deliverance and unhooking yourself in the basement, you'd still take the penalty from using Deliverance, even though you could have gotten off anyway via Wicked. That is, you still come up broken. So this suggestion takes us one step further. Since patch 7.3.0, you can actually unhook yourself in second stage if the killer has camped you for long enough. So what happens if you have Deliverance active and unhook yourself via the anti-camp feature rather than a regular unhook attempt? Will it still apply Deliverance's broken effect? Flashbang, Blast Mine, and Chemical Trap game progress quicker on generators with brand new parts. This one was submitted by List the Name. I'm covering this one because it got a lot of upvotes and a big discussion broke out surrounding it. There are several survivor perks in the game now that activate only after a certain amount of a generator is repaired, but the specific descriptions of these vary. Chemical Trap, Blast Mine, and Flashbang all activate after repairing generators for a total of 50%. Repressed Alliance, however, activates after repairing generators for a total of 45%. 5 seconds. It's worth noting that a generator has 90 charges and survivors repair at 1 charge per second, so Repressed Alliance theoretically also activates after 50%, but is worded slightly differently. We also don't have a concrete idea of what 50% means because brand new parts and now Invocation weaving spiders all take charges off of a generator. In the HUD, this is accounted for by having the total repair progress requirement calculated from the amount being taken off, by which I mean it will display as if no brand new part is applied and you're just repairing faster. I mention this because it's likely that this is also being done to account for brand new parts and weaving spiders when giving progress to the aforementioned perks. In fact, it's likely that the perk has no idea of the state of the generator at all, and it is in fact the generator which applies the progress. In this scenario, there'd be no reason to factor in required charges unless you're intentionally making these perks charge quicker, but the disparity in descriptions suggests that there is a difference, as the other 3 perks are all consistent in their wording. So just to restate the initial question, Flashbang, Blast Mine, and Chemical Trap gain progress quicker on generators of brand new parts. Let's find out. So there you have it, another 8 Dbd Myths Busted. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I do a new one every single week. As always, a big thank you to my patrons Nova Keck, Sylvan, Lithalucard, and Channel Manager Chipstar878, along with YouTube members Meme Lord, Chipstar878 again, Howsy, Nova, and Jinx Likes Magic. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.